Hello, all my faves. How are you guys? Happy podcast day. If you are listening on Friday, happy Friday. And I'm so glad to be with you guys today. I have been thinking a lot about what it feels like to live in peace, which I think is really the ultimate goal. So we are going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that from a lot of different angles. If you do follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, please do, at NJSachs. Come follow me at Instagram. I put out a question over the past few days that said, give me some ideas for podcast topics. And I felt like the things coming in were all around self-care, patience and kindness, forgiveness. And ultimately, when I think of all those things, it to me speaks to peace. It was all about what it feels like to be living in peace, or the challenges that we find trying to live in peace regardless of our situations. And so sort of the confluence of all those different comments brought me to this topic today, which is, what does it mean to live a life in peace? So I'm really excited to dive into that. Before I do, let's just clean the house and talk about a few items that I want to put out there. The first, and tremendously exciting for me, is that my Omega retreat, August 9th through the 14th, 2020, is now live and on sale. And this is a great privilege because last year, being a first-time instructor, my retreat didn't go on sale until March. And so it was like this mad rush for me to get the word out and let people know that I was going to be there. But this year, they were kind enough to put me in their catalog as of September, which is super, super exciting, which means enrollment is open. And for more information, all you have to do is go to thecureforchronicpain.com. I actually put a link on my homepage, so you can get right to that from wherever you are. And it will take you right to the Omega website, and you can sign up. I will say, and I have been putting this out on my social media, I know this year is going to sell out because I am working on a lot of different avenues of media exposure, and I've gotten a lot of beautiful attention from different spaces that are going to feature my work. And so I know it's going to get a lot of exposure, which is amazing and fantastic because, as you guys know, my primary purpose is to carry this message to the global community that all people should know that this work is a possibility for them and that they have so much more power than they realize over their own healing. So that is my ultimate goal. And that is something that I have worked very hard and very long, and it's starting to come to fruition. So that's really exciting. But what I want to say to you guys, my listeners, is that I think this retreat is going to sell out. I don't have unlimited capacity because I really want to keep it somewhat intimate. And so if you are considering coming, if you think that this is something that could add to your healing, and if it's something you want to do, please sign up now, sign up fast, because I don't want anyone to be shut out that really maybe like wanted to come last year and couldn't get it together to come last year, which was like a month ago. I want people to be able to do what they need to do for themselves. So if indeed this is something that you have on your bucket list for next summer, I would just grab your spot and your accommodations at Omega as soon as possible. And if you haven't yet seen the reel, the beautiful reel that my wife Tiffany Paperno Caldwell of Tiff Picks Photography put together, I think you should take a look at it. It's on my YouTube channel, which is The Cure for Chronic Pain on YouTube. It's a 3-minute compilation of our beautiful experience last summer, which will really give you an idea of the magic that is Omega. And it was just next level. No shit, amazing. So, okay, so that's Omega. So please grab your spot as soon as possible to make sure you get in. The other thing I wanted to say is, as you guys might know, if you are regular listeners to the pod, I have a sponsor. I have a sponsor for today's episode, and that sponsor is the Curable app. And ever since I announced this last week on the pod, I have been inundated with supportive emails from people who are just cheering on this partnership, from people who have been either involved with Curable already and are doing Curable groups and are excited about their healing that has been kickstarted by their participation in Curable. And other people who are like, thank you so much. I didn't know about Curable, and by hearing it on the podcast, now I'm able to use both platforms, your platform and Curable's platform, in order to just kick my healing into high gear. And it is just so exciting for me to hear that. I actually just received an email this morning from a woman who told me that prior to hearing about me, she had been involved in Curable since the summer, is in her, I think, second or third week of doing Curable groups. And she said through her Curable groups experience, she was told by one of her cohorts there to check out this podcast. And through checking out the podcast, she said it's helped her more than she could ever explain. So that kind of stuff just lights me up, warms my heart, and makes me so excited that Curable and I chose to do this partnership. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the Curable app if you don't know. It's used by more than 100,000 people in chronic pain, and it is the first ever app to deliver evidence-based methods for chronic pain self-care. It guides users easily, understandably, through the pain science education, which is so important. And it has hundreds of exercises designed to break the cycle of pain. It's so important, guys. I would never take a sponsor for this podcast that I didn't completely believe in. And I love the synergy of my work and the Curable app. And so I really, really suggest you sign up. And the most amazing thing that Curable has done is they're offering my listeners 50% off Curable's annual membership. They're giving a really deep discount for you guys. All you have to do is visit getcurable.com/Nicole. And let me remind people, my name is spelled Nicole. So it's getcurable.com/Nicole. Some people stick an H in there, which has never made sense to me, but no judgment for you, Nicole with the H'ers. Any case, so Curable is amazing. I wholeheartedly believe in it. And, they've sent me beautiful statistics, like over 70% of their users experience physical pain relief after only 30 days of use, and nearly 80% report a higher quality of life, which totally makes sense to me because this mind-body connection is everything. It's not just about pain. Pain is the entry point. Pain is an invitation into our deeper truths, which lead to a life full of absolute freedom. And you deserve this. You deserve absolute freedom. So do check out Curable. If you're curious about all of my work, please do check out thecureforchronicpain.com. And at thecureforchronicpain.com, you can also sign up for Omega on my homepage. But if you click on the resources tab, it links to everything I do. And as many of you guys know, a lot of that stuff is free. I offer free YouTube videos, the Healing Yourself 1-4 series, which is available on YouTube at The Cure for Chronic Pain. And I offer just a Facebook group, a closed group on Facebook, where it's just like a supportive community where nobody on Facebook reads your posts except the people who have been admitted into the group, and I am the administrator. I take a look at every single person who is asking to join, and I am very careful about making sure that the conversation there is one based on loving kindness, supportiveness, and not judgment. So please do join us on Facebook. It's called JOURNALSPEAK with Nicole Sachs, LCSW. Also, if you're interested in learning about my journey and also specific instructions on how to do this for yourself, you can check out my book, which is called The Meaning of Truth on Amazon. And of course, there's my online course, which is called Freedom from Chronic Pain, available on my website on the course tab that I hear beautiful things about. I say to you guys all the time, it's hard to promote yourself, but the best promotion I ever get is the emails I receive many a week from all over the world telling me that the course has changed their life. So it just makes me feel so good. I've worked so hard and so long at this stuff, and to have it really start to be showing results all over the world for people to really see and experience It's just everything for me. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I live in tremendous gratitude that I get to carry this message. All right. So let's get on to the content of this podcast, what it means to live in peace. So when my babies were little, I loved the book Secrets of the Baby Whisperer by Tracy Hogg, who has since passed away. But I remember getting something from that book. And what I got was, you need to start with the end in mind. I remember her saying, start as you mean to go on. But for whatever reason, that translated to me as start with the end in mind. So kind of like whenever you are in a situation that challenges you, which of course having a new baby does, and the fact that it doesn't sleep or it doesn't eat the way you want it to eat or whatever, can be a great challenge, both physically and emotionally. And I remember reading that book in a great deal of desperation because my Isabella, my sweet Izzy, who's going to be 17 in a few weeks, she did not like to nap. She did not like to sleep. She was a screamer, and I was a young mommy and very challenged by that. And I remember reading this book, and it just made sense to me. And when she used to say, start as you mean to go on, I used to think to myself, what kind of an experience do I want for my baby and for myself? I kind of brought the experience all the way to the end result. Not what do I need to do today, but where do I want to go with this? And what came up for me is I want a peaceful, happy baby who has slept enough that she is thriving. And I want some self-care. I need sleep. I am a really shitty person if I don't get any sleep and I start to get really panicked and all of my anxiety kind of floats to the surface. So I thought the two of us really need this. And the book really spoke to me in sort of a tender yet boundaried way to make sure your baby gets the care that she needs in terms of sleep and other things and feeding and all the things that are important in taking care of a newborn. So I have sort of adopted that philosophy to my work in chronic pain recovery and to my whole life. And the way I look at this philosophy for you is as follows. We need to start with the end in mind. So whomever you are, we have the same end in mind. And I'm going to tell you what it is. You and I, we both want the same thing. We want you to have a life of complete freedom, a total integrated self where all the little girl and little boy parts of you can come and be into the fabric of who you are, into this beautiful, expressive life that you choose to live. We want you to be present in the moment, able to appreciate the joys and even the sorrows, but really be present for your life and to feel that you connect with other people and that they love and support you and you have the energy to love and support them. So to me, this is the end in mind. Now, you might notice that I did not mention pain there, because when you live that kind of life and you've done this work, you will not ever be in chronic pain again. You will experience human pain as it comes up, as it arises as a feeling, because sometimes we feel things in our hearts and sometimes we feel things in our bodies. So yeah, there'll be days where you have a headache or your back is stiff or, you wake up and your old symptoms are teasing you and saying, do you need us today? But because you have done this work and you will not have the level of repressed emotions that you currently have, you will actually be free. You will know that you have the tool that will never let you down, which is your journal, speak, and meditation practice. And you will be able to take a look at those symptoms and to kindly and gently acknowledge them the way one would a little child who is misguided. And this kid is like, hey, listen to me, look at me. I think you need me today. I think you need me to protect you because there's a big bad world out there. And you could say, oh, sweetie, I get you. You've got the right in this. By the way, this little child is your brain and your nervous system. And you can acknowledge that being and say, hey, honey, I get you. I hear you. I know that it seems that way. that we are, in danger because I got to go have that talk with my boss, or my son is really struggling in high school, or my husband and I had this bad fight, or I'm really stressed about money, or no matter how much I try to talk to my sister, she doesn't get me. I get it. I hear you that those things are happening. It does seem like that's a scary space to be, but I don't need a migraine today. I don't need to go lay down and not deal with that stuff. I got you. I got that you're trying to protect me, but truth of the matter is, I'm okay. We got this. And you can always jump to your journal speak at any point that day and do your practice and just let a steam valve come for those very natural human emotions. And then you can gently let it go and the pain will go with it. And that is the way I live my life and the way thousands of people around the world who have worked my programs live their lives. So that's our end in mind. That's what we're going for. That's a life of peace. It doesn't mean a life where you never have pain. It doesn't mean a life where you never have conflict. It doesn't mean that you're going to feel happy and joy every single freaking second of the day. That's not the way this works. But you do have peace, and that's what we're looking for. So there's a few factors that have come up, especially in that one Instagram question that a lot of you guys answered. And I just want to say to all of you guys that write to me and answer the questions that I pose on my Instagram story. So make sure if you do follow me on Instagram, you click on my profile picture to watch my story. Oftentimes I make sure to put a story up of different helpful things, or sometimes the stupid BS that's going on in my life, what have you. But it's entertaining. But anyway, I want you guys to know that a lot more people write me back from the story than I'm able to post answers. I usually try to post answers to at least 10 to 20 of the questions, but know that I read them all. I read them literally all. I've never not read a story response. So don't be shy to respond, even if you don't see your question come up in the story responses. Anyway, so the ones I did acknowledge and kind of put into the basket of what I wanted to talk about today had a lot to do with struggling with forgiveness and struggling with patience on this journey. So actually, let's talk about the patience part first. So I think that one of the things that's really hard for people when they come into my work specifically is they have already been struggling for a long time. I used to have a joke in my practice when I had a private practice and I had a physical office that people were walking through the door. I would say, people don't come to me until they literally on all fours have to crawl through my door into my office and onto the couch because they have tried everything. Usually openness, and I'm hoping this changes, and this is changing, but in the past, openness to the mind-body connection usually come after the entire exhaustive medical model has been looked at. So every doctor, every physical therapist, every medication, many times 1 or 2 or 5 surgeries, people have gone through before they open themselves up to the concept, the crazy concept, and I do acknowledge that it sounds crazy, that an emotional exercise can cure a physical condition. And so they would just kind of crawl with their fingernails dragging through the carpet into my office. And at that point, I get you. You're really tired. And when I start saying the stuff I say, which is, oh, dude, you're going to be fine. You're going to be well. The first thing people want is to be well right away. And unfortunately, the patience required on this journey, which very understandably is not there when you've already been struggling for potentially years, doing tons of stuff that has not helped you, maybe has made you worse, you're not ripe with patience at that moment. You don't want to just say, oh, great, today's the first day of the rest of my life. And, that's not the way people naturally think. We're human. So forgive yourself for that, but we're human. And our humanity leads us to be very frustrated with ourselves and with whomever tried to help us and with our pain. And so, let's forgive ourselves for that. Let's acknowledge that that feels really normal. But also let's say that, let me tell you, patience is key on this journey, and honestly, faith. And I'm not talking about the faith of religion. So if you are triggered by a religious conversation, this is not a religious conversation. This is a spiritual conversation, because we are a being of mind, body, and spirit. Even if you aren't a person who believes in any sort of religious kind of spirituality, or God, or whatever you do, you must believe, because Einstein said it, that we are 98% energy. So if you're all energy, and if you are constantly interacting with other people's energy, well, that's your spirit. That's the thing that is bigger than the physical description of you, your energy, the energy you bring. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you can certainly feel it. And so I will say that there is a faith aspect of this, because what I'm asking you to do is be patient. The first reason I want you to be patient is when you're impatient, it makes the process slower. So for the very sake of just wanting to be well as soon as humanly possible, the slower you go, the quicker you get there. And trust me, I know that is an annoying statement, but it is the capital T truth. So if you can practice patience, even if you're on the first day of this and it feels like the millionth day because you've done so many things before this, to just say, listen, Nicole is so sure, and I am, by the way, 100% positive that you can be well, because I've seen you. I've seen every single one of you. I've seen every single diagnosis. I've been doing this for a million years. I've done this with people all over the world, from heads of state down to people who are struggling in public housing. I have worked with people with great celebrity and people who are very, very just trying to live their day to day and pay their bills, and everyone in between. And it doesn't matter. We're all the flippin' same. We are all the same. We show up in our pain and our suffering exactly the same. We show up in our humanity exactly the same. And I'm going to tell you guys, you can do this. But what is required is that you say, all right, here I am. I'm in, let's just say you have fibro. So I'm in tremendous pain. I'm pain all over my body. It feels electric. It feels terrifying. I've been told there's no cure. I've been told all I can do is manage my symptoms. I've been on and off medication that doesn't seem to help me. It has side effects. Okay, so here we are. And let's say you've been dealing with that for 10 years. I'm just giving you some ballpark example. And now I'm going to say to you, here's the work. I'm going to teach it to you. I'm going to support you. And you just have to do it every day with the faith. Because steal my faith if you don't have your own. I know that you're going to be fine. I'm so sure, because I have never seen someone fail who has completely and thoroughly done this work with belief and patience and kindness. I've not seen it happen. And that doesn't mean that every single person who's embarked upon this work has gotten well, but those are people who struggle with belief, or who struggle with patience and kindness, or who refuse to do the work. I mean, there's always one facet of my work that people drop if they end up not continuing and getting well. But if you can just be patient, if you can just kind of put on the brakes and say, okay, I got it. I know this sucks. I know it's hard. I acknowledge that I feel like I deserve to be better after all this time. I acknowledge that this is so hard. But you know what? Oh well. The only way out is through. I finally found the answer, and I promise you guys this is the answer. And so now it's about practicing patience. Kindness too. Kindness is key, but understanding patience can be even more difficult. I think people who struggle with kindness are people, and I'm one of those people, who their inner critic is very loud. I've gotten so much better, but when I was younger, even like only a few years ago, my inner critic was deafening. Every time I did something, I had this inner critic that was like, oh, I could have done it better, or that pretty much sucked, or, she said you're great, but you're really not. What bullshit that is, what a waste. I've really learned, but I really think it's not been something that I've been able to manhandle. It's something that I've learned through days and days and weeks and months and years of my own journal speak practice, my own meditation practice, my own faith, my own belief that I am part of the oneness, the energy of the universe, that I've come to this peace about it. But, kindness can be tough, but I feel like patience is the hardest, because patience is where we get triggered into hopelessness, where we're like, oh shit, it's just never going to be okay. And I'm just, I'm not okay. And maybe it works for other people, but not for me. And my dear ones, what I want to say when you think that is, just walk the path. Left foot, right foot, breathe. Learn my work. Go to my website, whatever you need to do to learn all the stuff I teach, and do it. And every day, just do it. And on some days, you're going to feel nothing. And on some days, you're really going to feel better. And on some days, especially at the beginning, you're going to feel worse because your nervous system and your brain are going to say, wait a second. She's ruining our whole enterprise here. She is challenging our protective mechanisms that are rooted in the primitive brainstem that's been around for millions of years. She's challenging the fact that she's safer with a migraine in bed than she is out in the big bad world. Let's just make it worse let's make it worse because maybe she needs a bit more guidance here. Remember, the brain and the nervous system is very primitive. It only cares about your survival. It doesn't care if you're happy. It cares if you're safe. And that's cool because, we need that. But you can be wiser. You can evolve in real time right now. This is in your hands. And you can say, thank you, dear, but I know what's good for me. So you can just show up every day to the page or to the computer screen, however you like to do your journal speak. You can show up every day to a loving kindness meditation, and you can practice patience and faith. And that patience just comes in. However this goes, it's okay for me. Nicole says it's going to work. This has worked for millions of people around the world, beginning with Sarno's theories and all of us who carry his message. And it will work for me if I can just chill out, not need to be different than I am right now. That's where acceptance comes in. Remember, radical acceptance is the beginning of all transformation. So just practicing acceptance. This is who I am today. And taking a page from Dan Buglio, which is, this is where I am today. Let's make it a great day. Regardless of how I feel, let's make it a great day. I promise, guys, this is the golden ticket. I'm giving you the golden ticket, and I hope that you can take it. So that's one thing to really keep in mind when it comes to thriving in this work. Another thing that came up a lot in this one particular Instagram query was forgiveness. And people asking, like, how? I know that forgiveness is first and foremost for myself. How can I forgive? How can I allow myself to forgive? Because I keep abutting this nasty feeling like forgiving means telling the other person that hurt me, even if it's just energetically, that what they did to me was okay, which of course that is not what forgiveness is. So I like to talk about forgiveness in the space of the concept of life as a choice between what hurts and what hurts worse. If you read my stuff and if you've taken a look around my work, especially my book, you've definitely heard me say this. It sounds negative, but it's actually quite a relief. Life is a choice between what hurts and what hurts worse. Every single situation. Having this blue dog laying next to me is a choice between what hurts and what hurts worse, okay? It hurts to have him. Why? Well, it hurts to have him because I love him so much it feels painful. It hurts to have him because he's a pain in the ass and he gets in the garbage and then he throws up all over the place. It hurts to have him because one day he will die, and I know that. He is 7. One day he will die, and my heart will be torn into shreds. So that hurts. But you know what hurts worse? Not to have him. And that's it. It doesn't mean that you can't find beauty in the space of things that hurt in your life. As long as you understand that for everything that hurts, there's something that hurts worse. And when the scales shift, if they ever do, like say one day, far, far, far in the future, when I lose this magnificent animal, if it just hurts worse to get another dog because of just the pain of how much it traumatized me to lose him, well, then that will be that day. And maybe that day I'll say, you know what, it hurts worse to get another dog today. My scales have shifted. And maybe a few years later, my scales will shift again. And I'll say, no, it hurts worse not to have a dog in my life. I'm going to get one. That's everything in life is on those scales all the time. So forgiveness works the same way. So here's what I'll say to you guys about forgiveness. When you feel as if you can't forgive someone, that is poison in your veins. Acid does more damage to the vessel in which it is stored than that on which it is poured. Your angry thoughts, your resentment, your inability to, even in your own heart, practice forgiveness and let it go is keeping you toxic. However, for you, depending on what has been done to you, the level of deceit or trauma or betrayal, you may say, I don't care. I don't care if it courses through my veins. It hurts worse to offer that person forgiveness, even in my heart. And I say, fine, I respect you on that day. Just open yourself up to the point that I am making, which is I think holding on to resentment is so toxic. I really can't think of anything that hurts worse if you really start thinking about it. Like, so you've been sexually abused. I have so many clients who are sexually abused by a father, by an uncle, by an older brother, by a cousin, by a parent's acquaintance, and the parents just let it go. And they're like, I can't forgive. They might not have seen that person in 20 years, or they might need to see that person all the time. But the point of the matter is, my sweet love, forgiveness is first and foremost for yourself, because in all the hours of the day that you don't see that person, which is most of the hours of the day, you are festering in it, and it's causing a lot of necessity for emotional repression, which leads you to a lot of chronic symptoms. So I just want to open the conversation. I'm not suggesting you have to forgive. I'm just suggesting you really take a look at what it's doing to you, because I think it hurts worse. I think in most cases it does. And I think that for you to start, just plant the seed. I always seek to plant the seed just at the top of the crown of your head, because eventually those roots will grow into your mind, and eventually those roots will grow into your heart. And the day they grow into your heart, you'll say, you know what? I can't hold this anymore. It's too heavy. I'm just going to have to put it down. And it might take a little while to get used to it, but that forgiveness will really help you. So I'm sure I've talked about all this before. A lot of this stuff is the same message over and over, but I do believe that this stuff all bears repeating, because it's going to hit everyone in a different way, and it can really change the game. It can really change the game. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I really think that what it means to live a life in peace is an examined life where you are looking at what you really want. What is the end goal here? And if you can really kind of align yourself with the end goal of, I don't want to carry other people's crap. I don't want to carry anger that has long since, the reason for that anger has long since gone. I want to do this work. I want to kindly and gently listen to myself so I can be out of pain. To me, that is a really noble end goal, and I wish and I hope it for all of you guys. So it's been really awesome being with you guys here today, and I want you to remember that I am here with you, and I believe that you can do this. I really, really do. So if you need to borrow some faith, please borrow mine. I have infinite amounts to give out. And I also want you to keep in mind that the wonderful Curable app is offering you guys 50% off. Go to getcurable.com/Nicole, Nicole, and get your 1-year subscription for 50% off. I really highly recommend this app. It can really help you on your journey. All right, guys, lots of love. Until next time, this has been The Cure for Chronic Pain with me, Nicole Sachs, LCSW. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.